What's good, y'all? Back again. Another day. It's your boy, the Curtis York. And we here again. Welcome to Yorktown, y'all. Welcome to Yorktown. Um, I was trying to figure out what I was going to talk about today. Tonight rather. And, I was just trying to figure it out. I'm like, I'm doing this every night. I could come up with the topic. I could freestyle. I could, it's just a lot of options. So I just happened to go to CNN and I looked and I saw that Joe Biden, our president, said that he didn't say, he told donors that he's not sure he'd be running in 2024 unless, if Donald Trump wasn't in the race. And, you know, I saw it and I was like, I got it. I know what I'm talking about. So that's where we're going. But before we get into that, man, I hope everybody's doing all right. Everybody's having a great holiday season so far. Christmas is approaching. I know that times are rough. A lot of people are going through it. A lot of people don't like talking about it. They don't like, it's embarrassing or whatever the case may be. I just want you to know I've been there before. I get it. It's all right. Hold your head. If you can't buy gifts and all that stuff, if that's what you're into, it's all right, man. It'll be all right. It's not the end of the world. Um, yeah, I just wanted to share that message, man. My day's been pretty cool so far. Me and the wife went out to eat today. Well, we got breakfast, and then we drove around and we looked at some neighborhoods, areas that we like to live in. And for the first time in a very long time, I was actually excited to look at houses, which when I was working for the construction company that I was with, like I just lost the feeling and the excitement of looking at houses, bro. Like it was like, because we worked on custom homes and they were expensive homes, $1 million, things of that nature. They were nice homes, but you know, it's like once you start working in the business and you see it from the inside out and you get a thorough understanding, the magic just kind of disappears. It's like when you understand, how something works, then the mystery is gone and it's not as appealing and you just kind of lose your love for it. But I think because I've been so far removed from actually doing that, I really found love in just riding through neighborhoods and looking at houses again, man. So I'm extremely grateful for that. Like me and the wife was just sitting looking. And one of the things that I noticed as we were driving through neighborhoods, you could kind of tell who really had money and who didn't. Because if you go to the really, really, really expensive neighborhoods, you see nice houses and you see very modest, understated cars because they usually put the nice cars in the garage. But then when you ride through like middle class neighborhoods and lower class neighborhoods, you see a lot of nice cars and decent to average to even bad looking houses. And, that just made me think like it's crazy. A lot of us put our money into material things and cars and clothes and things like that. But other people put their money into their house and their assets. And it's like, forget the car. The car is just to get us from A to B. We're going to invest in this house because this house is where the money is. And I just thought that that was pretty fascinating. And we saw it in real time. It's like you can almost tell when you're leaving. It was one of them. One subdivision is called Bloom. Let me see if I could pull it up. And so Bloom is in Harrisburg, North Carolina, which is right outside of Charlotte, and it's in Cabarrus County. For those of you who are familiar with Harrisburg, with Charlotte area, it's Concord, Bloom, Harrisburg, North Carolina. Okay, we got it. So I'm gonna show y'all, and like you can almost tell where the um the money was and where the money stopped, even in certain subdivisions, because of the cars that were sitting outside. Granted, of course, you have people that have money and they choose to buy cars. Where is it? Bloom. Huh. Maybe Zillow might be the best. Let's do this. Okay, here we go. So yeah, this is the Bloom subdivision. Let me see. We gotta work around. I'm gonna just go to good old Zillow. 2538 Snapdragon. So here's one of the houses. I think we looked at this one in particular. So yeah, these are the types of homes that we were looking at. Um, and it's for sale, so I think it's safe. So yeah, this is one of the neighborhoods that we were riding through. Um, I would love to show y'all some of the homes that I was working on, but for what's the word? Um, Safety purposes, I won't do that. But anyways, yeah. Now, before we talk about this Joe Biden thing, let me just set a disclaimer. By no means am I a political analyst or, anything like that. I've just recently got into politics as far as local here where I live. And the reason that I got into politics at the local level, as far as being informed and aware of what's going on, is because in real estate, a lot of the decisions that happen tie directly into politics. Um, when you're going to get a permit, that's politics because you have to go to the government and you have to file and make a request. Um, Zoning, taxes, things of that nature, all of that stuff is at your local level, and all of that stuff is politics. And with our votes, we determine or we help contribute to the determining, deciding factors of how these things take place. So I've been paying a lot more attention to politics here in Charlotte, and I've been looking at how decisions get made and what these politicians on the local level are doing. Even here in the community, in the neighborhood, I just look around and I see things. Think about the tax breaks and, where our tax money is going. Again, the neighborhood that we rode through earlier, you can look and see that they have high taxes, and it's not a bad thing because you can see the tax money. You can see that the roads are nice. You can see that there's no trash on the side of the road. You can see that they're putting a lot of money, the tax money. You see where your tax money is going. And so those are the things that you want to look at as far as when you're determining who you're going to vote for and how policies affect you. A lot of times we like to think that politics don't matter, or, for the longest time, I was team no vote because nobody really represented what I wanted or what I needed. But what I realize now, looking around, that was a very flawed concept of thinking because on a very local level, the taxes and the things that we deal with affect us at a very high level. So I've been a lot more aware and cognizant of the people that are running and what their platforms are and how that stuff trickles down. And then on a much larger scale, so just like economics, you have a micro and a macro. So on a macro level, the president creates policies. They work on executive orders where they make decisions, and those things matter. They come up with trade policies on a large scale. They determine and they basically speak out as far as, they kind of set the tone. Obviously, Congress has their role in the checks and balance system that we work in, but politics, I've been paying attention and I've been realizing politics is way more important than I would have liked to believe in my younger days. So this is for my younger folks that watch the channel and the people that are going to be looking at the playlist, man. Start paying attention to politics. If nothing else, at least on your very, very, very local level, where you live, you need to understand how the taxes work. You need to understand, what the policies and the laws are, even to the level of. So here's another example. Right now, I'm working on getting my OSHA 30, which is a construction certification. And basically, one of the laws, which is pretty much everywhere, is you can't dig around underground equipment. It's for obvious reasons. It keeps you safe, but that's a law that directly affects construction. That's just a tiny example of why I've been paying a lot more attention to politics, both on a smaller scale and a larger scale. So, with that being said, I saw this article on CNN, and it really just kind of, I don't know. Let's just read it. So, Biden tells donors he's not sure I'd be running in 2024 if Trump wasn't in the race. I mean, that right there, guys, is crazy. We don't know what Joe Biden is running on this second term. I mean, chances are he's going to try to, highlight some. Let's see. What? I don't. I genuinely don't know. But stay tuned because we're going to find out together. That's the thing. You don't always have to know everything. And this is what I learned in grad school. You don't have to know everything, but you should be able to know how to find it. And if you don't know how to find it, then you should know how to ask in order to get that information. So let's see what the Biden accomplishments are, guys. Because I really want to know what his platform is that he's running on this time. Joe Biden presidential. Let's see. Yeah. Joe Biden accomplishments. Because I really want to know what his platform is. So let's see what the White House says. And obviously, if you go to the White House, you know that it's biased. But that's cool. I'm genuinely curious. Let's see. And then we're going to come back to this because we'll come back to that. So let me switch screens and look at this one. The Biden Harris record. Let's see what we got, y'all. So, top accomplishments: lowering costs of families' everyday expenses. Oh man. All right. So, off the rip, inflation is extremely high right now. So let's see. What is the Inflation Reduction Act? A historic legislative achievement that lowers costs for families, combats the climate crisis, and makes the largest conversation. Uh, and thanks for the year down peak 2022. All right, y'all. So I'm calling cap, and the reason that I'm calling cap is because inflation is very high right now. What is inflation? Um, Inflation currently. Let's see. Currently, 3.2%. Inflation is at 3.2 right now, 3.24. So it looks like inflation has went down from 7.75% last year, but let's see. I'm just showing y'all how to research, y'all. So in 2021, it was 7, 22, 6.5, 23 so far, 3.2. So according to this, inflation is down. Let me see. Inflation is down apparently, so that might not be cap based off of the data. I mean, right here it's saying that inflation is down. It doesn't feel like inflation is down, but that's what they say. So, okay. Okay. I'll say that's questionable. I'll say that's questionable because even though, here's the thing, because even though inflation, and I'll tell you why, because even though inflation is down, if you look at the interest rate, is 5.25%, which is the highest since the early level since the millennium. And they're saying that we can avoid a recession. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, inflation, I mean, not inflation. Interest rates are still high. So we got that. We'll call that, I'll be fair, we'll call that questionable. More people are working than at any point in American history. 17 states have unemployment rates below 3%. Um, that right there, I'm easily calling cap. That right there is just cap. Number one, I'm currently not working due to market things. So let's see. Unemployment rate 3.9%. So you're looking at 3.9%, the lowest it's ever. Okay, so at the time of this, it was 3%. Now we're trending up towards 4%, which means that it's going up. He gave USA, he gave us an African American woman as a Supreme Court justice and reduced some of the extra fees we pay at hotel flights and Ticketmaster. He reduced inflation year over year. Those are his standouts. Yeah, I can't argue. I mean, that I was just looking at that. The inflation thing, I mean that, let me scroll back up real quick. Inflation right now, dang, where was it? I want to say that was at about, ooh, let me go back. My memory is bad, y'all. Want to make sure. Let me see. Inflation rate. We got Superfly Kicks in the building. What's going on, big homie? 3.2. Okay. So it was a 3.2. I pulled up the chart, and what Daniel said is correct. It has gone down year over year. So, well, it fluctuated, but overall, in 2022, let's say June, it peaked at about 9.6%. That was inflation. Now we look, let's go June to June. So June 2023, it was down to 2.9, which is a little under 3, which was very low. So yeah, we can give them that. That's fair. That's accurate. That is an accurate statement. Let me see. Got Superfly Kicks in the building. Right now, I'm just being very unbiased, just looking at what they're saying and kind of responding based off of what I see and what the research says. And this is just a very, very, very low level research thing. I'm just genuinely curious. And this sparked because Joe Biden told donors that the only reason that he was running, and I'm paraphrasing, is that because Trump is in the race, he decided that he was going to run again. So I'm trying to understand what the platform is, because if that is the platform that he's running off of, like, yo, I'm only doing this again because y'all don't want Trump, then I gotta keep it 100 and just say that this is just an old Democrat tactic of just fear mongering that they use, and they've been running game for years just to scare black people into voting. like I hate to say it, but it's like, there's always a boogeyman. It's like, those doggone Republicans don't want you guys to wear masks. So, I don't know, man. Like I'm hoping that there's more to the story, and they just said that to grab headlines. But you know, again, I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible, which is why I'm looking at the track record to see. Um, so yeah, we could give them the inflation thing. That's one. Um, More working people than at any point in American history. That's cap. I mean, I don't think I really have to go in on that one. But yeah, that's cap. He didn't deliver on most of his campaign promises. He's accomplished a fraction of his initial agenda. Trump is about to wash him. Crazy, 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 crazy. Let's see. More people. Yeah, that's cap. Businesses are closing left and right. A lot of these businesses are laying people off due to the interest rates. Not the interest rates and the price of loans right now. The money just costs too much. So you're seeing a lot of layoffs going on right now. And it's doom and gloom, which is crazy because if you look at this, it tells you that more people are working, but that's it's not true. Or maybe it was true when this was made. I don't know if this is something that they update constantly, but let me see. Ah, okay. Here's the short, the cliff notes. Okay, so I ain't gonna click on all of them. I'm just gonna I'm just oh nah. We gotta click on them, bro, because this right here ain't the whole thing. So yeah, we gonna take this line by line. I thought I could just look at the little cliff notes down there, but nah, that's something different. So making more in America lowers the cost of goods, makes more semiconductors in America, ensures more American made technologies, create more manufacturing jobs. All right, y'all. So that right there, that he's taking claim for that is crazy. Because I don't know if y'all remember, but that's what Trump was running on. Like, like that is wild. Like that's what Trump's campaign was. He was saying that he was going, bring jobs back to America. He was gonna bring more manufacturing jobs back to America. He was gonna bring the semiconductors and stuff back to America. And that's what a lot of people get it confused, but that's pretty much what the trade war with China was about. He didn't like the terms of things that were going on between the trade in America and China. And so he was trying to get more stuff back over here. And it's so crazy, bro, because the more I talk, the more it seems like I'm a Trumper or something like that. And I'm not, man. I just have been listening and watching and, this is so crazy, man. Like everything that he said, this stuff was put in place already. So, yeah, bringing the supply chain back from overseas, and they're creating good paying jobs, union jobs that don't require 4-year degrees. Um, it's funny that they're talking about union jobs because remember, we had a bunch of unions go on strike this year. You had the actors, you had the auto workers. I want to say somebody else went on strike too. Let me see. Strikes of 2023. Who all went on? Let's see. UPS, Kaiser Permanente, Hollywood, the big three auto companies, hotels and casinos in Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Detroit. So all of these people went on strikes. Let's see. And y'all, let me just say, um, this isn't a reputable source. If you're looking for research and stuff like that, I would not encourage you to use Wikipedia. Just for the sake of time, that's the only reason I'm looking here right now. Yeah, so wow. So Workers University strike, Writers Guild of America strike, Starbucks strike. And then you had the auto workers. So he's talking about all of these union jobs that they brought back that don't require a 4-year degree, but apparently it didn't work out. I love Trump. Remind me of some of them gangsters I came up around. Yo. Yo, this is a wild one tonight, bro. Like it's going. I'm telling you, man. Yeah, Trump is different, bro. You know, Trump is different, man. Um, you know, and I think that if we being 100, Joe Biden is a gangster too. He a different kind of gangster though. I don't know. Should we get into that? I mean, let's go through this first. So, making more in America, that's leftover Trump politics. I mean, we just got to call it what it is. Rescued the economy and changed the course of the pandemic. Um, that's cap. Economic. Let's see. Let me go back. Dang. Come on, MacBook. So he said, help create millions of jobs. American Rescue Plan funded the successful vaccination plan, safely reopened schools, helped 200,000 child care providers. 79% of all adults fully vaccinated. Real American, none of that fake gangster. The vaccination thing is questionable. I don't think that 79%. I don't think 79%. I don't believe that one. That's almost 80%. I don't think that 80% of adults are fully vaccinated. I don't know. People could be lying about their vaccination status, but I don't think that 80% of adults are fully vaccinated. Take that for what it's worth. You know, do what you will with that information. I just don't think that 80% of adult Americans are fully vaccinated. I don't believe that. And then the economic relief. What was that? Biden economic relief. What was that? President Biden's plan. Oh, the 1,400 stimulus. The stimmies excluded individuals over 80,000. Oh, so that's what the third stimmies were. I know why I didn't get a third stimmy. Okay, so he sent out stimmies, which I think I've been saying this every night. Somehow it keeps coming up. But the thing about free money is free money leads to inflation because when you have too much money, let me see. I almost sound like a broken record. Here's the thing. When you have too much money, then they have to get the money back because if you have a bunch of money out there, then the money becomes useless. When that happens, it's called inflation. There's just too much money out there. And so when that happens, what they do is they raise the interest rate. So now we're getting into double talk. And now it's looking sketchy. So you're bragging about giving out free money, and then you're bragging about the interest rates being down. But I mean, inflation being down. But the thing about that is inflation goes back up because the money isn't worth anything because there's too much out there. And if so, here's the game. What they're doing is they're lowering the inflation, but they're raising the interest rates. Yo. So he's trying to count the stimulus checks. Trump created that process and he shorted us the campaign. He campaigned that he would give us more, right? But here's the thing, like, this can kind of go back to Trump. If whoever takes the claim for it, the thing about giving away free money is that when there's too much money out there, the inflation goes up because they have to get that money back. Or you could do what they're doing, which is they're saying that the inflation rate is down, but they're raising the interest rate, which means that yeah, you might have that $1,400, but if you try to take out a loan, we're gonna tear you up on the back end because it's gonna cost so much money to get the money that it's not worth it. So it's like, oh man. See why it's important to research, y'all? Because that's crazy game, bruh. Like that is wow. Let's see. Rebuilding our infrastructure. This is 100% cap. Largest investment in rebuilding our roads and bridges. I don't see it. Um, First ever national network of EV charging stations. Okay. Creates good paying jobs in every part of the country. Uh, largest investment in public transit in American history. I don't see it. Ensures access to clean drinking water in every community. Um, are they talking about Flint, Michigan here, or what was it, Jackson, Mississippi? I mean, if they don't have clean water, then this right here is just air. It's hot air because those are the places that need clean water the most. So unless he's talking about Flint, Michigan, and Jackson, Mississippi, then we're not. That's cap. Um, Largest investment in tackling legacy pollution. Um, I don't know about that because you still have the trash mountains. So let me tell you about trash mountains. I'm from Bishopville, South Carolina originally. Well, I'm from Atlanta originally, but I grew up and spent most of my time in Bishopville, South Carolina. So I'm from South Carolina. Um, we have what's called trash mountains, and trash mountains are Waste Management is a landfill company. Let me see. Let me just show y'all trash mountain. These. So right there in Bishopville, South Carolina, everybody else from the East Coast, they by train, they bring their trash and they dump it in big old piles like this right outside of town. And so, we got that just sitting right there. And it's like whenever you leave town, you see the big old trash mountain. And, a lot of people were asking questions like, how does that affect our water supply? How does that, what are the long term effects of that? And, nobody really seems to know. So, I don't really see what he's doing to tackle legacy pollution because that's what legacy pollution is. Yeah, I don't know that one. I'm saying it's questionable. Let's keep rolling. Um, Benefits for toxic exposed veterans. Um, I don't know. He signed into law a pact services for toxic exposed. Move quickly if illness are related. Uh, 31 new clinical sites and provide VA several tools and resources. I don't know. I'm not a veteran. The veterans I know, I've never really asked them about that. So to be fair, I'm just going to leave that one alone because I don't know enough about it. The first meaningful gun violence reduction legislation in 30 years. What is that? Help remove dangerous firearms from individuals, narrows the boyfriend loophole to keep hands out of convicted dating partners, expands mental health services in schools and support, tougher, background checks for people 18 through 21. Okay. Funding crisis interventions, including extreme risk protection order, red flag laws. Okay. That makes me nervous. Red flag laws. Okay. That's like what is a red flag law? How do you use that? How does that work? What's a red flag y'all law? Let's see. I don't know. But that makes me nervous. I ain't even gonna lie. Red flag law. Like who determines what red flag laws are without red? Oh, shout out to North Carolina, which allows for temporary firearm removal from individuals believed to be at risk of harming themselves and others. See, that's where it gets crazy because who determines what a red flag is? Like that's why it's kind of iffy, bro. North Carolina doesn't have a red flag law. Um, I don't want to get into gun safety. I know that's a very polarizing topic. What I will say is gun violence is very prevalent and you got to protect yourself however you see fit. And, people that want to do something, they going to have access to guns regardless. So, that's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to say. So, yeah, protected marriage for LGBTQI and interracial couples, um, reversing the discriminatory ban on transgender service, strengthen non-discrimination protection to healthcare, housing, education, and employment, ensuring transgender Americans can access government support and services. So he looked out for the LGBTQ community. Okay. Alrighty. Um, wow. So this is historic confirmation of Supreme Court Ketanji Brown Jackson and federal judges of diverse background. All right. This is what he did for black people. All right. So LGBTQ got some protections for their marriage and they got some interracial couples too. Oh, same sex interracial couples. Okay. So they got that. And we got Ketanji Brown Jackson. So we got Ketanji Brown Jackson. Okay. All righty. Okay. So rallied rallied the world to support Ukraine, which is unpopular, I would say. I don't think that a lot of people are really happy about Ukraine. Um, who playing Madden right now, Yorktown? You playing Madden? I need to get on Madden, bro. As a matter of fact, my son is playing Madden. He just recently got into football and he loves some Madden. His team is the Eagles. I need to get Madden. I don't know, bro. I'm a Falcons fan and they just drive me so crazy. I've just been uninvolved with the Falcons. And my wife does her thing with the Panthers, so we go support their games and stuff. Um, strengthen alliances and partnerships to deliver for the American people. Finland and Sweden joined NATO. Strengthen NATO's collect. All right. Successful counterterrorism missions. Al Qaeda and ISIS. That is very vague. Executive orders protecting reproductive rights. Student debt. Okay. That was a big one. The student debt thing. Maybe he could run off that. Ending our failed approach to marijuana. I don't like this one because he played a big role in the failed approach. Yeah. Yep. Not feeling that one. Okay. Advancing equity and racial justice, including historic criminal justice reform. I really don't like this one. So my thing is, if I shoot you and then I drive you to the hospital and say, I'm gonna take care of your medical bills, but I shot you. Can I say I looked out for you or I did you a favor? So y'all gotta. That's basically what Joe Biden did with this right here. It's like, I'm going to push out this crime bill. I'm going to do what I got to do, and we're going to be tough on crime, and we're going to come up with these crime laws that disproportionately affect one sector of the American race, and that's what we're going to do. And then 20, 30 years later, you know what? We just gonna take that back, and I got y'all. I'm gonna make it right. Yeah, I'm not good. I'm good on that. Delivered the most aggressive climate and environmental justice agenda in American history. Okay. Climate care is important. More people with health care insurance than ever before. Okay. Hmm. All right, y'all. So that's what they did. Now, with that being said, so all of these policies that they've done, he decides to get in front of the donors and say that no, he's not sure he'd be running if Trump wasn't in the race. Y'all, do y'all know how crazy that is, bro? Man, the more I think about it, I really don't like Joe Biden. He just comes across as soft. Like, bro, like, dog. So I just don't understand, bro. It's like he. I'm not sure I'd be running in 2024 if Trump wasn't in the race. So the only reason we're running, and the only reason that you did all of these accomplishments, and what you choose to tell your donors, meaning the people that are giving you money to fund your campaign, is because the Democrats can't let Trump win. I'm going to run again. And then it's like, at this point, it's like, do they just not have anybody else? Like, I'm genuinely like, Daniel, if you're in here, you're very big on politics, bro. You keep up with this stuff. Do the Democrats not have anybody else? Like, is he just their savior? Democrat. Oh man. Like, I'm smart enough to admit when I don't know something, and I can genuinely ask a question because I need to know. Like, do the Democrats not have anybody else that is qualified or capable to run? That's crazy. That's crazy. Mm. Singer-songwriter James Taylor. Biden also remarks at the first fundraiser about the hostage negotiations. Hamas. Hmm. President is making a final. He'll be in line. Uh, so he has a fundraiser coming up in LA with Steven Spielberg, Shonda Rhimes, and Rob Reiner. Okay. Democrats raised $71 million for his re-election last year. Well, last quarter. Hmm. Oh wow. This is important. So far, the campaign is putting that money to use in television ads, going on air with the $25 million ad buy to text message, and try to make an affirmative case for the president's re-election. Some of the ads have aired during key NFL games. Biden's re-election effort has set a record for off-year ad spending by an incumbent, according to data from Ad Impact, with more than $45 million spent on pro-Biden advertisement since the start of 2023. Bro, they are spending a lot of money for Joe Biden. Like, let's see. Why don't they have a bench of new talent? No, they were banking on Kamala Harris, but she is very unlike. Wow. Sheesh. Let's see. The record investment in early advertisement comes from an assortment of groups supporting Biden's reelection, Biden's own campaign, which has spent about 11.3 million, an allied committee with the DNC, which has spent about 5.4 million, a joint fundraising committee, which has spent about 8.2, and an allied super PAC, which has spent about 19.8 million, plus over a million from other smaller groups. The total so far, over $45 million and climbing, is more than Trump and his allies spent on advertisement in 2019, about $36.5 million, and far more than Obama's network spent in 2011, about $7.3 million. With its significant early investment, Biden's reelection effort has targeted key media markets in familiar battleground states: Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Georgia, and Nevada. Now, the interesting thing about Michigan is recently, because of this war. Oh man, let me tell you how crazy it is. So right now, you got the war going on with Israel and Hamas, and the Muslim community in Michigan, I think it was Michigan Muslim community. I want to make sure I got my facts straight. Let's say Biden. So we just saw that Biden spent all of that money in Michigan. But right here, you got, this is why I love research, y'all. Muslim leaders in swing states pledged to abandon Biden over his refusal to call for a ceasefire. Warnings that President's stance on the war risks losing support of community and states critical to his chances for re-election. Muslim community leaders gathered on Saturday in Dearborn, Michigan. Now remember, he just said Michigan was was where they were spending a lot of money. Muslim community leaders gathered on Saturday in Dearborn, Michigan, home to the largest concentration of Arab Americans in the U.S. to protest against Joe Biden's refusal to call for a ceasefire in Gaza, reiterating that the president's stance could affect his support in crucial swing states next year. Now, you want to talk about gangster, bruh. This is gangster, dog. They said, we are not powerless as American Muslims. We are powerful. We don't only have the money, but we have the actual vote. And we will use that vote to save this nation from itself. Families and children are being wiped out with our tax dollars. What we are witnessing today is tragedy upon tragedy. Y'all, that's gangster. Y'all want to talk about gangster, bro? He spent all that bread in Michigan, and the Arab community in Michigan is like, yo, we ain't even rocking with you, bro. So it's like, why are you spending all this money? Like, so are they listing any of the other swing states? You got Wisconsin, you got Arizona, Wisconsin and Arizona. Let me scroll back. Yeah, there we go. I just had to pull up some receipts. So they're spending all this money in oh wow, look at that. Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona. Didn't y'all just see that? Like, bro, he's spending all of this money and basically he's throwing money away because them people said, unless you call for a ceasefire over there, we're not voting for you. And then Pennsylvania, the thing about Pennsylvania is, honestly, I would have thought Pennsylvania and New Jersey have a very high Muslim concentration of people. So if Michigan is saying what they're saying, then you better believe that the Democratic Arabs of Pennsylvania and New Jersey are on the same type of time. So, y'all, Biden is in trouble, bruh. Arizona, which was listed, he's dropping all that money in there. Let me see. If they were smart, they would have Gavin Newsom as their front runner. Governor of California, he would be a good company man for them, but he's not beating Trump. I personally think Gavin is kind of, if he's not going to go this time, he's setting himself up to go next term. So that'll be interesting to see how that works out with Gavin Newsom. Let me see. The campaign also began staffing up in key voting states, announcing the state director this week in South Carolina, which will be an early test of Biden's support among Black voters. Now, I'm from South Carolina. So one thing that I can say, almost to a detriment, South Carolina, the Black Democrats in South Carolina, they are loyal. I remember when I was in middle school, I had a teacher and he was a Republican. And I remember and it just came up in the most random way because he must have been a Teach for America teacher. And, I don't think he really understood the people in that class. And, he was talking about George Bush. And I was in middle school, bro. We were in middle school. This was like, I wanted to say Bush was president. So this had to be around 2004. 2003, 2004, around that time. And you know what I'm saying? He started talking about politics. I don't even think he might have been a history teacher. Maybe. I don't remember. I just remember him and I remember the conversation. And I remember him saying he was talking about somehow or another we got on the topic of George Bush and he was just talking about, how Black people and it sounds so crazy to repeat, but I'll never forget this conversation. He was like, Black people just have this undying loyalty to the Democratic Party. They won't even listen to anything after they hear the word Republican. And I kid you not, like clockwork, you might have thought that he said the N word in class. And it was like, it was so wild, bro, because it's like, he was talking about George Bush and he was talking about Republican policies, and all you heard was, the kids saying, our parents told us that Republicans are racist. And, George Bush wants to put us back in slavery. And like just all these talking points that we were spoon fed to believe. And you know what I'm saying? It was just so crazy that even back then, it was rough, and that stuff was hardwired and ingrained in us. I personally thought a lot of people would have been turned off with Joe Biden when he said that if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black, which was crazy. And like that was wild. And the Black voters still showed up and showed out for Joe Biden in South Carolina, and Charlemagne the God is from South Carolina. So it's like that was a head scratcher for me. But the other guy, Larry Elder, came out and he went on the Breakfast Club and he said what he said. So I just find it very interesting, man, that basically Joe Biden is saying that he's running his campaign, and his platform is I'm just here so Trump doesn't win. Basically, that's the talk of people that are running in a third party for the most part. They're usually just in the race to mess up the numbers or throw somebody else off. So to hear the presidential incumbent say that is just wow, bro. Like, wow, that's really where we are. So yeah, man. We probably I don't know. I kind of enjoy talking about politics because like I said, it affects my business directly. So I think we are going to be tuning in. We're going to be doing little things like this, looking up receipts and actually pulling up what people say. because, and we're going to find a way to make it cool, man. We're going to find a way to make it fun, bro, because we really do need to be informed. We really do need to know what's going on, because this stuff affects us. And not only does it affect us, it affects a lot of the next generation. Like, here's another one. So, and this is funny because me and my wife were talking about this today. You're about to see a lot of black people with MAGA hats. They're going to be on trend in the spring. You know what? A lot of people like Trump, bro. I hear it all the time. So, yeah, man. Um, Dang, I lost my train of thought. What was I about to say? Oh, yeah. So my wife and I were talking earlier about this great transfer of wealth. I'm gonna touch on this real quick, and I'm gonna probably sign out. Transfer of wealth, and I'm gonna show y'all um why politics is important and how this affects us. Um, Let me see. What is the great transfer? What is the great wealth transfer? Between 2023 and 2045, 84 trillion in assets will be handed down to millennials and members of Generation X. Now, let's see. Forget Succession style plotting. If you haven't watched Succession, by the way, you are asleep, man. Succession is an amazing show. Um, these days, the most common way to come into riches is much easier. Keep that in mind. The most common way to come into riches is much easier. The great wealth transfer, also known as the intergenerational wealth transfer, is the transmission of family assets from one generation to the next. So, if you read this article and you just stop right here, then naturally you'll get excited. But in the very next sentence, this is why politics is important. The great wealth transfer, also known as the intergenerational wealth transfer, is the transmission of family assets from one generation to the next. What is an asset? Assets are resources acquired by a company or person for this sake to generate profit. Now, an asset is something that you own that you make money on. For example, you buy a house for $30,000 in 2016. That same house right now may be worth $120,000. Why? Because it's called appreciation. The value of a house goes up. So that's considered wealth generation. Now, the issue is if you, it says baby boomers, people born between 1946 and 1964. Silent generation would be people in my age group's grandparents, or baby boomers, depending. My grandmother, who recently passed, she was a baby boomer, and ironically, my mom was a baby boomer as well. So if you do a little bit of quick math, you can figure that out. But yeah, so baby boomers, a lot of the silent generation for the most part is kind of phased out, or they're phasing out, and they'll be passing on their wealth to the baby boomers. And then a lot of the baby boomers are phasing out, and they're going to be passing their wealth down to Generation X and the millennials. So that is going to be the great wealth transfer. Now, the thing about that is, and here's the caveat, and here's the kicker, and here's why a lot of us shouldn't be getting excited, because if your parents or your grandparents don't own their house, or if they don't have any businesses, or they don't have anything to pass down, you're not going to be involved in this generational wealth transfer. It doesn't fall down to you because you don't have anything to get. So here it is right here. This is why it's important to keep reading, because when you break it down, unfortunately, the great wealth transfer is a pretty one-sided transaction. It's a case of the rich getting richer, since the majority of accumulated wealth will remain in the same lineages. Meaning, again, if your people don't have a house or they don't have anything that they can pass down to you, you ain't gonna get nothing. In a 2019 report on wealth disparity by the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve, analysts noted that the typical white family has 8 times the wealth of the typical black family and 5 times the wealth of the typical Hispanic family. Which means all of this money that's going to be transferred, if your people don't have nothing, you can't get nothing. And that's why politics is important, because in this content, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm the one that found this stuff or I originated it. There's a lot of people that are way smarter than me that talk about this and they go deeper in depth on it. I'm just looking at what I'm seeing, and the data doesn't lie, y'all. If you don't have nothing, you can't get anything. So yeah, man, on that note, I'm about to sign out. Make sure y'all stay tuned. Make sure you drop that like, make sure you comment, subscribe, share, and we'll holler at you on the next one.